Hi, this is Keith Cunningham with additional strategies on crisis leadership, and this is volume 3. Optics, flexibility, and speed are mandatory. Although you may not like my example, it's accurate and insightful. There's only one reason Kobe Bryant is dead. When it gets foggy and visibility is zero, you cannot fly your helicopter by looking out the window. Kobe's pilot did not have the dials in his cockpit that would have enabled him to see where he was and to give him instantaneous feedback in order to dodge the mountain. And yet, stupidly, he kept flying. It's deadly to believe that you can navigate in this environment without dials and optics. It's simply too foggy. The most critical dial in your cockpit is the rolling 13-week cash flow forecast. It must be accurate, updated constantly, and executed consistently. The margin for error is razor thin. So here's your thinking time question. How up to date and accurate are the dials and dashboards and optics in my cockpit? Are there any gauges flashing red? For those that are unfamiliar with the rolling 13-week cash flow forecast, it's very different from your annual budgeting ritual. In normal times, if you get a couple quarters into the year and find you're 15 or 20% off your quarterly or annually budgeted target, nothing bad typically happens. In a crisis, cash flow forecasting requires an entirely different level of intensity and engagement. If you put in the effort and do the cash flow forecasting, you must run your business according to that plan. Mistakes on execution with cash and cash flow are deadly in a crisis. So here's your thinking time question. Is my cash flow forecast realistic, and are we hitting our plan? If not, what needs to change immediately? There's a tendency when developing the rolling 13-week cash flow forecast to use the same methodology as we sometimes use when creating our annual budgets. We often forecast an increase in sales of 20% and then a budget of 15% increase in payroll and overhead in quarter 2. These estimates are usually derived from wishful thinking and glossy assumptions. The missing piece is the extreme granularity and specificity required to accurately predict whether the forecasted revenue and the budgeted expenses are real. I call this a yellow brick road. Google calls it Google Maps. In a crisis, cash flow forecasting requires a very sharp pencil. Detailed amounts, specific dates, precise milestones, and clear triggers for adjustments if necessary. Few things are worse than being blindfolded and trying to catch a falling knife. The people who try this trick usually have a nickname like Stumpy. So here's your thinking time question. How can I turn my plan and cash flow forecast into Google Map directions? Turn right in 100 feet, merge left at the intersection and half a mile, make a U-turn, and proceed to route. Now, go think. You'll thank me later. For more business and CEO strategies, go to my website, keystothevault.com.